second visit in a matter of 48 hours, where he is now reviewing if there has been any improvement in the flood situation. Yes, viewers, as you can clearly see, that is the Assam Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sharma making his way through the inundated town of Silchar. And of course, as you can see, what once used to be roads have now turned into more or less streams of water streams. And Himanta Biswa Sharma, the Assam Chief Minister, having left with no other choice but to hop on to a rubber boat and also take wading through the waters, the waterlogged Silchar town, and taking a first-hand inspection of the situation across the Silchar town. And here, of course, we can see these are exclusive visuals coming in to your channel, Northeast Live viewers, exclusive visuals by your channel, as Himanta Biswa Sharma also interacting with some of the people in Silchar town. And well, the defining moment of the Chief Minister's visit was when an engineering student braced all odds to reach out to Chief Minister Sharma and greet him with a traditional gamusa. He was later assisted by Chief Minister Sharma's security personnel. Take a look. Most of the Manipuri people here.
शर्ट आपका शर्ट फंसा हुआ है.
आप जाओ,
आप
Just one request, sir. Just read our Mahasarak, sir.
Mahasarak, na?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I think it will be done in 1 year.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
So we are big fans, sir.
I am extremely sorry.
No. I'm
Thank
from
you very
Silchar
much.
College.
Silchar Engineering
Silchar
College,
Medical
Medical College. I'll come I'll come sometime and have a cup of tea.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
Sir, no, boro janibo.
হ্যাঁ, এটা 100% আমি আসবে নেক্সট টাইম যখন শিলচরে আসবে।
আপনি এটা কথা পাবো স্যার।
হ্যাঁ,
আপনি মানে ফার্স্ট ইয়ার শিলচর। জি মানে ইমান ফিটনেস শিলচর আনিছে। We are thankful to you.
নেক্সট টাইম যখন আমি আবার শিলচর আসবে তখন আপনার বাড়িতে আসবো।
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
And not just that, the Chief Minister even spoke to the locals, giving them the necessary assurance they need in the time of distress. In fact, he even promised to visit the homes of a few of the residents and share a cup of tea with them once things come back to normal. It may be mentioned here that Silchar town is the worst affected area by the floods. The visuals on your screens speak volumes about the grim situation and the people's plight. Vehicles remain submerged since close to a week now. The administration is working round the clock to help the people. And meanwhile, Northeast Live correspondent Bikram Sarkar is on ground zero to bring us all the latest updates. Let's have a look.
CM Dr. Himanta Biswa Sharma landed at airport, and then from there he came and at Silchar Police Parade Ground. You can see now after landing at Silchar Police Parade Ground to take the stock of the badly flood affected area, to be very precise. He sat on the NDRF and SDRF boats. You can see it's a huge crew of the NDRF boats made it here, lined up here, and in that boat, I'll ask my camera person Nirmal to show you that Dr. Himanta Biswa Sharma is already set in the boat to take stock of the situation.
So there you see, viewers, the Assam Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sharma, a man on a mission to address the people's plight in the light of the flood situation. And of course, right now, Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sharma is in the deluged town of Silchar, where he has hopped on a rubber boat and along with Rajdeep Roy is taking a survey of the town. And of course, as you can clearly see, the situation still continues to remain very grim across Silchar town, with all the vital roads completely inundated in floodwaters, leaving no choice to the Chief Minister other than hopping on to a rubber boat and taking a first hand inspection of the flood situation. And Himanta Biswa Sharma also engaged in some light-hearted banter with some of the local residents who are reeling from the effects of the floodwaters. As you can clearly see, these are visuals, sensational visuals coming in, exclusive visuals brought to you by your channel, Northeast Live. And the defining moment of the Chief Minister's visit was when an engineering student braced all odds to reach out to the Chief Minister and greet him with the traditional gamusa. He was later assisted by the Chief Minister's security personnel. Let's have a look at this.
আপনার হবে স্যার
এইটো কোনোবা এজনে লৈ লওক এটা লৈ লওক পৰে
হ্যান্ড করবেন
মণিপুৰী গামোচা মণিপুৰী না most of the Manipuri people live here.
शर्ट आपका शर्ट फंसा हुआ है
Bhagwat will come here. आप जाओ आप
Sir, just one request, sir. Just read our Mahasharak, sir. Mahasharak, sir.
Mahasarak, na?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I think it will be done in 1 year.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Sir, we are big fans, sir.
I am extremely sorry.
No. I'm
Thank
from
you, Vita.
Medical College.
Silchar Engineering
Silchar
College.
Medical
College. I'll come
Only
some.
one day.
I'll come sometime and have a cup of tea.
Okay, sure.
And yes, viewers, these are live visuals coming in from Silchar town. As you can clearly see, Himanta Biswa Sharma riding on a rubber boat and is on a tour across the inundated town of Silchar, where he has put on a life jacket and he has donned a life jacket and has hopped onto a rubber boat and is making a first-hand inspection of the situation prevailing in Silchar town. As you can see from the visuals, viewers, they indeed do speak for themselves, isn't it? What once used to be roads have now completely turned into river streams, and people having no other choice but to barely make themselves stay afloat. And Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sharma, right there, as you can see, also trying to do something very similar. He has hopped onto a rescue boat, and along with Silchar MP Rajdeep Roy, is taking a survey of the Silchar town, and the entire town is inundated in floodwaters, viewers. These are indeed sensational visuals on your screens from the heart of Silchar town. And as you can see, everywhere there is floodwaters. Wherever you see, it is completely inundated with floodwater. And earlier in the visuals that we showed you, the student who interacted with Chief Minister Sharma, floodwaters have inundated right up to the front gate of his residence. And there we also see police personnel, rescue personnel also accompanying on several rescue boats behind Chief Minister Sharma as he conducts a first-hand survey of Silchar town. Yes, indeed, viewers. These are sensational visuals. A road which at least once used to be a road, now completely inundated in floodwaters. Yes, indeed, viewers. This such is the condition of Silchar town. These are sensational visuals coming in from Silchar town. People perched atop at the rooftops of their houses, waving as the chief minister passes them by. This is indeed the situation that is currently prevailing in the Silchar town in Kachar district. Indeed, a sight to see, viewers. Yes, indeed, viewers. What you see on your screens are these sensational visuals coming in from Silchar town at this point in time. These are exclusive visuals accessed by your channel, Northeast Live. And everywhere you see, there is completely water has inundated the entire town. People, one can only imagine the extent of the plight that these people are having to face in light of this prevailing situation. Water levels have reached right up to the gates of the houses, as you can see, and water levels have reached up right to the first floor of certain buildings and certain houses, and the people having no other choice other than perching themselves on the highest floor of their building, and some people even perched right on top of their rooftops. And of course, there is absolutely no way that they can go to any levels down below, as all the levels have been completely submerged in floodwaters. And these are very hard to believe, viewers. These indeed once used to be roads, but now there is absolutely no sign which would make one believe that this actually used to be a road at one point, because the entire town has been completely submerged in these floodwaters. And it's not just today, viewers. This is the condition that has been prevailing in Silchar town for the past couple of weeks, at least, if not more. That is what the situation has been. Lot of the people facing a scarcity of food and other essential items as well. No clean drinking water to speak of for a lot of these residents. Relief and rescue efforts, of course, are indeed underway. However, from the visuals itself, we can make out the extent of the plight of the people of Silchar town. And we are trying to get in touch with our correspondent from Silchar, Bikram Sarkar, who will bring us all the latest updates from ground zero. However, at this point in time, we are continuously bringing you all the live visuals from Silchar town. Indeed, these are very hard to believe visuals, indeed, if I may say so myself, viewers. Everywhere you see, it is completely inundated in floodwaters. These are the live visuals coming in, viewers, and everywhere you see people trying to keep themselves safe by going to higher grounds. Some people perched on top of their very rooftops of their houses in order to escape from the gushing floodwaters. And this is indeed something that a lot of people who are not acquainted with the flood scenario of the state will find it very hard to believe. These are what once used to be roads, but now there is absolutely no sign as to these that they used to be roads. Now people there we can see more people literally wading through the floodwaters of Silchar town, trying to make their way across and reach their respective destinations. This is indeed the situation, a very grim and a precarious situation which is prevailing, and water coming up coming up to the people's bellies and on top of their bellies, and that is what the water levels are standing at this point in time. Yes, so viewers, I'm now connected over the phone line by my colleague from Silchar, Bikram Sarkar. Bikram, we can see on our screens the kind of situation that is prevailing in Silchar town. And this is something that a lot of people who are not acquainted with the flood scenario of Assam will find very hard to believe, isn't it? These are sensational visuals coming in. Everywhere we see, there is only and only flood water having inundated the entire town. What more can you tell us about the prevailing situation, Bikram?
Yes, Ronak, to be very precise, we must say it's a dreadful situation that the people is going through. In some of the areas, yes, in some of the town areas like Premtala and all, water went down. But the area which now CM Dr. Hemanta Biswa Sharma is visiting is the highly and mostly affected areas where it's about 10 feet and above 10 feet water. People are staying as much as high they could. And many stranded people are still waiting for water. All the people are asking for water. Even CM also distributed some of the food materials through as NDRF boats. And the people of NDRF, they are also trying to provide with the relief. And today we have seen that around 12 boats is with the CM convoy, we must say, is visiting and taking stock of the affected areas. And Ronak, yeah, we have seen many of the people are also appreciating Dr. Hemanta Biswa Sharma, saying that this is the first time that ever in the history that CM visited to in this frightened moment, Ronak.
Yes, absolutely. And but Bikram, we can only, from these visuals, we can only imagine the kind of plight that the people of the town are currently facing. We've already heard that there is a certain shortage of food essentials in certain places. So, could you tell us a little bit more about the plight of the people in this prevailing scenario, Bikram?
Well, Ronak, people are still struggling. There are food. We have seen the stock of food, and somewhere they are also reaching out. But it's a huge majority. It's still they left out of getting. In some of the areas, even the administration didn't visit it so far. There is a huge, big area where the administration has not reached yet, and so the people are also feeling bad about, and also they are starving in this position where they couldn't have a single drop of water, and only cry is of water now, Ronak. And just now, Ronak, Hemanta Biswa Sharma just went out of the boat and will go to a different location, Ronak. We will update you soon.
All right, Bikram Sarkar, thank you very much for bringing us all of those latest updates, and do keep us up to date with all the latest developments from Silchar. All right, on to another big story now. All eyes are set on the results of the Tripura by-elections, which will be out by today. And we have first trends coming in, viewers, where Sudeep Roy Burman is leading from the Agartala constituency seat against his nearest rival, Ashok Sinha of the BJP, after the fourth round of counting by over 3,100 votes. Yes, indeed, viewers, these are the early trends pouring in at this point in time. And meanwhile, BJP's Manik Saha is leading from Town Bordwali constituency against Ashish Kumar Saha of the Congress by over 3,000 votes. And then we have the BJP's Malina Debnath, who is leading from the Jubarajnagar seat against her nearest rival, Sailendra Chandranath of the CPIM. Debnath is leading by over 2,300 votes at this point in time. Now, on the other hand, the BJP's Swapna Das Paul is also leading from the Surma constituency. So there you have it, viewers. The first trends, the early trends now starting to trickle in as all eyes are set on counting day as far as the Tripura by-elections are concerned, the results of which will be declared before the day is done. We have the first trends coming in where the Congress's Sudeep Roy Burman is leading from the Agartala constituency seat against nearest rival Ashok Sinha of the BJP after 4 rounds of counting by over 3,100 votes. And then we have the BJP's Manik Saha, incumbent chief minister, who is leading from Town Bordwali constituency against the Congress's Ashish Kumar Saha by over 3,000 votes. BJP's Malina Debnath, who is leading from the Jubarajnagar seat, is also leading against her nearest rival, that is Sailendra Chandranath of the CPIM. Debnath is leading by over 2,300 votes. And on the other hand, the BJP's Swapna Das Paul is also leading from from the Surma constituency. And let me also tell our viewers here earlier, the counting of votes began in the morning today with the by-polls to 4 assembly constituencies, which was held on the 23rd of June. As many as 23 candidates were in the fray for this crucial by-polls, and the by-elections assumes a lot of significance since it can be considered as a litmus test for both the ruling BJP as well as the opposition ahead of the 2023 assembly elections in the state. A lot at stake for the BJP as well as its rivals, with the BJP's Dr. Manik Saha, who was sworn in as the Chief Minister on the 15th of May after the sudden resignation of his predecessor Biplab Kumar Deb, is the BJP candidate contesting from the town Bordwali constituency. And Manik Saha, of course, is up against Congress leader Ashish Kumar Saha. Congress heavyweight and former State Health Minister Sudeep Roy Burman has also contested from the 6th Agartala constituency. Sudeep Roy Burman and Ashish Kumar Saha won from their home turfs for 5 consecutive terms. Both the leaders started their political careers from the Congress and then later spent about 4 years in the BJP before making a re-entry into the Congress last year. Meanwhile, the BJP has fielded Ashok Sinha from the Agartala constituency, while the CPIM has fielded Krishna Mojumdar. In Surma, BJP Swapna Das Paul is up against the CPIM's Anjan Das. The election in this particular seat was held after the BJP MLA Ashish Das rebelled against his party and was then subsequently disqualified. Besides, the Tipra Motha fielded Baburam Satnami from the same seat, supported by the Congress. And if you look at Jubraj Nagar, which is considered a left bastion, the BJP has fielded Malina Das against CPIM Sailendra Chandra Nath. As for the TMC, the party has also fielded candidates in all 4 of the constituencies as it looks to make inroads into the state. Now, all one has to do is wait till the evening today for all things to become clear, and we will come to know who will have the last laugh. All right, shifting focus to another big story now. Prime Minister Narendra Modi today departed for Germany to attend the G7 summit scheduled for the 26th and 27th of June, where he will be holding meetings with G7 and guest countries and exchange views on contemporary issues. Prime Minister Modi will also travel to the UAE while coming back to India. In an official statement, Prime Minister Modi said that he will be exchanging views with the G7 countries, G7 partner countries, as well as guest international organizations on topical issues such as environment, energy, climate, food security, health, counterterrorism, gender equality, and democracy. After attending the G7 summit, Prime Minister Modi will then be traveling to the United Arab Emirates on the 28th of June to pay his personal condolences on the passing away of Sheikh Khalifa bin Zayed Al Nahyan, the former UAE president and Abu Dhabi ruler. The ministry statement added that Prime Minister Modi will also take the opportunity to congratulate Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan on his election as the new president of the UAE and ruler of Abu Dhabi.
This is the second visit of the Honorable Prime Minister to Germany in these 2 months. He was here last month to attend the India-Germany intergovernmental consultations. During this visit, he is expected to hold bilateral meetings with other leaders who are attending the G7 summit, including Chancellor Scholz, and he is also expected to attend 2 plenary sessions where the focus would be on energy security, food security, gender equality, democracy, and climate change. This visit of the Prime Minister will also witness an interaction with a vibrant Indian community in Germany, especially in southern Germany, as also members of the community who would be visiting from other parts of Europe and outside. This would be an opportunity that the Indian community is eagerly awaiting for after the very successful interaction of the Honorable Prime Minister with the community in Berlin. We look forward to a very useful and productive visit of the Honorable Prime Minister.
And with that, we've come to the end of our news bulletin. Stay tuned to Northeast Live for more news and updates. Thank you for watching.
Northeast Live, most watched English news channel in Northeast. Number 1 English channel in region. Highest urban and rural viewers in Northeast. Most viewed news channel of Northeast on YouTube. News to keep you ahead. Evening Prime, every day at 7 p.m. Northeast Live, most watched English news channel in Northeast. Number 1 English channel in region. Highest urban and rural viewers in Northeast. Most viewed news channel of Northeast on YouTube. News to keep you ahead. Evening Prime, every day at 7 p.m. Northeast Live, most watched English news channel in Northeast. Number 1 English channel in region. Highest urban and rural viewers in Northeast. Most viewed news channel of Northeast on YouTube. News to keep you ahead. Evening Prime, every day at 7 p.m. Northeast Live, most watched English news channel in Northeast. Number 1 English channel in region. Highest urban and rural viewers in Northeast.
Very good morning to all our viewers. You're watching Morning Prime. I'm Ronak, and we start the bulletin with the top focus this morning. All eyes are set on the results of the crucial Tripura by-elections, which will be out by today. We have the first trends coming in at this point in time, where the Congress's Sudeep Roy Burman is leading from the Agartala seat against his nearest rival Ashok Sinha of the BJP after the sixth round of counting by over 3,100 votes. That's right, viewers. The BJP's Manik Saha is leading from town Bordowali constituency against Ashish Kumar Saha of the Congress by over 3,000 votes. The BJP's Malina Debnath is leading from the Jubaraj Nagar seat against her nearest rival, Sailendra Chandranath of CPIM. Debnath is leading by over 2,300 votes. On the other hand, we have the BJP's Swapna Das Paul, who is also leading from the Surma constituency. So viewers, indeed, the early trends now starting to trickle in one by one. These are the early numbers at this point in time. At this point in time, we are receiving the early trends at this point in time as the Congresses. Sudeep Roy Burman leading from Agartala constituency against the BJP's Ashok Sinha after the sixth round of counting by over 3,100 votes. Then the BJP's Manik Saha is leading from Town Bordwali constituency against Ashish Kumar Saha of the Congress by over 3,000 votes. BJP's Molina Debnath is leading from the Juvraj Nagar seat against her nearest rival Sailendra Chandranath of the CPIN. Debnath is leading by over 2,300 votes. And then we also have the BJP's Swapna Das Paul, who is leading from the Surma constituency. And well, the counting of votes began amidst tight security arrangements earlier today. The by-polls to 4 assembly constituencies was held on the 23rd of June, with as many as 22 candidates in the fray for this crucial by-elections. All right, and to give us more details, I'm being joined now live from our newsroom by our news editor, Nabarun Goswami. Nabarun, as you can clearly see, the early trends have started to trickle in. On one hand, we have the Congress's Sudeep Roy Burman leading from the Agartala seat. And then we also have Manik Saha, who is the incumbent chief minister, leading from Town Bordwali. What more would you like to add at this point in time, Nabarun? Over to you.
Yes, Raunak, indeed, the results are going on expected lines. We cannot call them early trends anymore. These are almost near decisive trends right now. Chief Minister Manik Saha is leading from Town Bordwali. He's leading comfortably by more than 4,000 votes against his rival, that is Ashish Kumar Saha. Ashish Saha, of course, was the sitting MLA from the area, mind you, and that's why it was a challenging contest for Manik Saha. But the CM Manik Saha is comfortably ahead as we speak. He is ahead by 4,393 votes, almost 4,400 votes. Again, interestingly, Sudeep Roy Burman, Raunak, as you mentioned, is well ahead again, ahead by over 3,000 votes in the 6th Agartala constituency. That is also very, very interesting and crucial. Now, if we look at it, the BJP is leading in 3 seats. It looks a decisive lead as of now, but the lead in Juvraj Nagar and Surma we have to wait for further details and a couple of more rounds to say who's actually taken a decisive lead in those constituencies. But as far as Agartala and Town Bordwali, the 2 crucial and must and sought after seats are concerned, the Congress and the BJP are now comfortable in their respective seats. Now again, let me point out, Raunak, here, the Congress's lead, Sudeep Roy Burman's lead in 6 Agartala may not be a validation of the Congress. If that was the case, Ashish Kumar Saha, who's also a sitting MLA, would have given a much closer contest to Manik Saha, which the CM, which is not happening. But yes, this also shows that Sudeep Roy Burman, despite everything, is still, despite joining the Congress, is still very much relevant in Tripura politics. He looks set for another term as an MLA. This was a very crucial by-election, both for Manik Saha. He made his debut, assembly elections debut, and Sudeep Roy Burman, who was fighting for, we can say, political career. He had taken the tough decision to quit the BJP and join the Congress at the time. Not many leaders would do so. Despite that, he took that very hard decision. Right now, he's ahead by well over 3,000 votes. Well, we can call that near decisive. Ashok Sinha, of course, was a close aide, confidant of Sudeep Roy Burman. They have both assisted each other in fighting elections. Ashok Sinha always stood by Sudeep Roy Burman's side. Both of them know their strategies. Both of them are known popular faces in the constituency. But it was Sudeep Roy Burman who has been the MLA all along, and this is once again showing. Raunak, if we have Pinaki Das, our assistant news editor, connected.
Yes, absolutely,
Agartala.
absolutely, Nabarun. We do have our assistant news editor, Pinaki Das, standing by from ground zero. You have some questions for him, I believe. Please go ahead.
Yes, Pinaki, the results, the trends on expected lines so far, isn't it, Pinaki?
Yeah, of course, Navarun, this is expected line, but at the same time, we expect that in the by-election, always the party in power is in advantage. At that time, Sudeep Roy Burman coming out with his victory, he's approaching towards victory because now the margin is more than 3,000 That this is already the seventh round has been declared. I am yet to get the result, but he is moving towards his victory. But two of the seats, this Manik Shah from town Bardwali, he also moving towards his victory, and his difference is in fact more than Sudeep Rai Burman. But that was also expected that he is a chief minister candidate. But from Yuvraj Nagar, you can say where CPM was expecting a victory, and they said that was their western. There, it has been seen that at Yuvraj Nagar, after almost the counting is over, the BJP candidate Malina Debnath, she has almost a close margin to around more than 4,320 votes than the CPM candidate Shailendra Chandranath, who got only 14,061, while BJP Malina Debnath got 18,381 votes. So that is little good for BJP, in the sense BJP earlier never had a hold. That was the CPM seat, and from which the previous speaker had expired. After that, the by-election was taking place. But this is this is a victory that really BJP will enjoy, in the sense that was always the CPM seat, and from the other seat, that is from where we got only one from Ambasa area, we got only one first round result. So that is very early. Now we have to wait, because Tripura Mutha was expecting a good result from them. But the first round vote, that has shown that BJP has done well, and that is also what BJP was saying, that though Tripura Mutha is claiming, but that is very early. We have to wait for that. But from Agartala, two seats which were the main focus, there it is very important for BJP, for Dr. Manik Shah to come victory from this, because he is a chief minister candidate, and he is in fact doing that well. With more than 4,300 votes he is leading. So we can say he's also approaching towards his victory.
It was never supposed to be easy either for Manik Saha or Sudeep Roy Burman, isn't it? Manik Saha, yes, despite being the CM, this was his assembly poll debut, and he was up against Ashish Saha, who had won by a large margin, a margin of over 10,000 votes in the last election. So it was always difficult. Secondly, Sudeep Roy Burman had also taken the tough decision of joining the Congress, and many thought probably it would be quite a challenge for him to emerge victorious this time. Results are yet to be out. He has taken a decisive lead. But again, Sudeep Roy Burman's victory, if he wins from here, doesn't mean it doesn't mean validation for the Congress, because it's probably the candidate Sudeep Roy Burman which the people are backing in 6 Agartala.
Right, Navarun. Sudeep Rai Burman has his own fan followers over here, and if you remember the incident that happened, he was injured. There also he got an advantage, in the sense sympathy votes will go towards him. And Manik Shah, if you remember, Manik Shah, in that area, the Ashish Shah had a huge victory. That was the highest difference in the previous assembly poll. So from there, getting a victory for Manik Shah, it is really important. And Manik Shah is really doing well, because he most probably, after the election, the BJP leaders were saying if the difference may come down, but more than 4,000 vote, 4,300 vote, he is leading. So that is a great achievement for Dr. Manik Shah, and that just speaks well about him and his acceptance in his constituency. And that will go in a long way, because in another 7-8 months, Tripura is going for his assembly poll.
Absolutely, Pinaki. Very, very crucial. These victories will be. Thank you so much. Keep bringing us all the updates. We will expect more updates, especially from the 2 Agartala seats. And I'm sure by 12, we will definitely have a clear picture. Thank you, Pinaki Das. Over to you, Ronak, in the studios.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Navran Goswami, joining us from our newsroom. And also thank you to our assistant news editor, Pinaki Das, bringing us all of those latest updates from Ground Zero in Agartala. And now on to another big story from the region. Assam Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sharma has time and again proved that he is a people's leader. Even as floods are taking a toll on the lives of the people, particularly in the state's Barak Valley, Chief Minister Sharma is doing whatever it takes to solve the people's misery. And what you see on your screens are the live visuals coming in from Silchar town at this point in time. These are visuals coming in straight from Silchar town, where Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sharma is currently taking an inspection, a first-hand inspection of the damages caused by the flood situation in the inundated town of Silchar. Everywhere you see, there is nothing but flood waters everywhere. There are no vehicles plying the streets, as all these streets have been inundated with flood waters. Instead of vehicles and cars, what you do see are a few rescue boats of the rescue personnel, the disaster management personnel, and of course, along with them, of course, is also the Assam Chief Minister taking a first-hand inspection of the flood damage, the extent of the damage in Silchar town. And of course, the defining moment of the Chief Minister's visit was when an engineering student just a short while back braced all odds to reach out to Chief Minister Sharma and greeted him with a traditional gamusa. He was later assisted by the Chief Minister's security personnel as well. Let's take a look.
शर्ट आपका शर्ट फंसा हुआ है
आप जाओ
आप
Sir, just one request, sir. Just read our Mahasharak, sir. Mahasharak, sir.
Mahasarak, na?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I think it will be done in 1 year.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
sir, we are a big fan, sir.
I am extremely sorry.
No, no, no. I'm
Thank
from
you, Vita.
Medical College.
Silchar Engineering College.
Medical College.
Medical College. I'll come I'll come sometime and have a cup of tea.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
Sir, no, boro janibo.
হ্যাঁ একদম 100% আমি আসবে নেক্সট টাইম যখন শিলচরে আসবে
আপনি এটা কথা কম স্যার
হ্যাঁ
আপনি মানে ফার্স্ট ইয়ার শিক্ষার জি মানে ইমাম
And we are bringing you more live visuals exclusively on your channel Northeast Live from Silchar. And these are more visuals of the Chief Minister taking a tour across the entire inundated town and also interacting with some of the locals, the residents. And we can only imagine the kind of plight that these people are going through as far as the flood situation is concerned. We have been witnessing some sensational visuals coming in from Silchar, viewers. People perched on top of their rooftops in order to escape the flood waters, which in some areas, we've been told, have reached all the way right up to the first floor of certain buildings. People having left with no other choice but to find safer grounds on top of their terraces, on top of the rooftops. And also, we've heard that in a lot of these localities, people are facing a scarcity of fresh water. There is not enough food materials also. And Himanta Biswa Sharma, the Assam Chief Minister, a man on a mission to help these people and solve the plight that they are currently facing. And what you see right now is, of course, the cavalcade led by Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sharma wading through the flood waters on foot. However, just a short while back, we were also seeing how the Chief Minister was on top of a rubber boat along with other rescue personnel, having donned a life jacket and having to wade through the waters of the inundated town, because there was so much water in some of the vital areas of Silchar town that there was no other option other than to make their way through on top of a rubber rescue boat. And of course, we just heard that interaction that Chief Minister Sharma had with a student who introduced himself to the Chief Minister as a student studying in the Silchar Medical College. Of course, they made all efforts to reach out to the Chief Minister, even though there was a water rising up. All right, let's listen in. And yes, as I was just saying, viewers, just a short while back, we saw how a medical student braving the floodwaters made an all-out attempt to reach out to the Chief Minister and handed him a traditional gamusa as his way of trying to welcome the Chief Minister in their midst. Of course, not the most ideal of situations to be greeting the Chief Minister, as the entire town remains completely flooded in floodwaters. However, the student making his way to the Chief Minister, even though water levels have risen all the way up to the first floor, was indeed a sight to behold. And Chief Minister Sharma also having a very light-hearted moment with the residents there, assuring them that the situation will improve very soon, and he will also come to have a cup of tea with some of these residents once the situation gets back to normal. And we are bringing you continuous live visuals, viewers. These are indeed these are indeed visuals that speak volumes regarding the current prevailing situation in Silchar town right now. There is absolutely no way to get across town without getting yourself drenched in the floodwaters. Absolutely no way. There are. All right, let's listen in once again to the conversation.
না বুট তো ঠিক আছে সাথে দেড়বা আবু ঢাল খাইদি আর নয় বেশ
So indeed, viewers, one would not be blamed if they were to believe that there is some sort of a lockdown going on in Silchar town by the looks of the live visuals that we're receiving at this point in time. All the shutters down, the entire town wearing a deserted look. People nowhere to be seen except, of course, for the personnel accompanying the Chief Minister here. And apart from that, not a single vehicle on the road, not a single shop which is open. It looks like a deserted town where a COVID lockdown or something of that sort has been put in place. However, that is absolutely not the case, viewers. Let me tell you this. And also for viewers living outside the region, this is something that might come across to them as something very unprecedented, something very unacquainted for them. But this is nothing to do with COVID or a lockdown. This is only due to the amount of water level, that is the flood waters, which have inundated the entire Silchar town. And this is not just in Silchar, but the entire Barak Valley is facing a very similar situation, viewers. And we will try to go once again to our correspondent Bikram Sarkar in a short while from now to bring us more live updates regarding the prevailing scenario. And of course, these visuals are something that, it does not seem real to the viewers. These are something that it seems like somewhere a lockdown is in place and the people, only the authorities are making the way across town. However, that is not the case. This is due to the flood scenario, which still remains very, very grim in Silchar town, which has been left ravaged by the floodwaters. And just a short while back, we saw how several people were perched on top of the rooftops of their respective houses. Some people were trying to wave to the chief minister from on top of their terraces. There was absolutely no way to get down onto the ground level without getting completely drenched in the floodwaters. All right, I am now joined over the phone line once again by my colleague from Silchar, Bikram Sarkar. Bikram, we are still continuously following as the Chief Minister makes his way across the flood inundated Silchar town. And of course, as the Chief Minister's cavalcade progresses, we are getting to see a stark picture of the kind of grim situation that is prevailing in Silchar town, the plight of the people living there. What more would you like to add, Bikram?
Hello. Yes, Ronak, we are seeing that to take the stock of the situation, Dr. Hemanta Vishwa Sharma is on the road at Rangerkhari area, along with the MLA MP both and with the district administration. And he's on foot. He is talking to the people, also taking stock of the situation, Ronak.
Right, and Bikram, what more can you tell us regarding this inspection that is being conducted by Chief Minister Sharma at this point in time? Chief Minister Sharma himself wading through the floodwaters, first-hand taking an inspection, also interacting with some of the people who are standing on their balconies and terraces, waving to the Chief Minister. What more can you tell us regarding this inspection that is currently going on at this point in time, Bikram?
With the district administration and along with the other concerned department, he will talk about it. But now we are seeing that at Rangerkhari, from on foot from the hospital road to Rangerkhari Shonai Road area, he went and he took the stock of the situation. He's talking to the people. Many people are approaching him, telling about their grievances, their sorrows, about their needs of the time. Ronak.
Yes, Bikram, we were just talking about the plight of the people who are living in Silchar town. One can only imagine the kind of difficulties that they must be facing in their everyday lives. Could you elaborate a little bit further on the kind of problems that the residents are facing owing to the prevailing flood situation, Bikram?
Yes, it is a dreadful situation. No one can understand unless it couldn't come to the ground. Some of the videos are explaining many things. But to feel the pain, to feel the force of this devastation already.
Right. Oh, it seems we're facing some issues with the connection with my colleague Bikram Sarkar, who is, of course, also right there on a ground zero in Silchar town. And, of course, following the cavalcade of Chief Minister Hemanta Biswa Sharma as he takes a first-hand inspection of the situation in Silchar. And, of course, some network issues being faced owing to the current prevailing situation over there. We will go back to Bikram Sarkar later for more live updates from ground zero. Yes, indeed, viewers. Relentless live updates we are bringing you from Silchar town. These are unbelievable images that we're receiving from the flood inundated town. And our correspondent, of course, Bikram Sarkar, who is also from Silchar. He is a local Silchar boy who is currently on ground zero alongside Chief Minister Sharma and is bringing us all of these live updates from ground zero. We can already see the kind of situation prevailing on the streets of Silchar. And just now we can see a truck and a bus somehow daring to make their way across these flood inundated streets of Silchar. We do wish them all the best. However, the situation does not look too conducive for vehicles to be plying on, as everywhere we look, there is nothing but floodwaters. And with that, we've come to the end of our news bulletin. Stay tuned to Northeast Live for more news and updates. Thank you for watching.
Northeast Live, most watched English news channel in Northeast. Number 1 English channel in region. Highest urban and rural viewers in Northeast. Most viewed news channel of Northeast on YouTube.